to another compelling episode of Winfield Cup Magic Memories, where the light at the end of the tunnel is looming fast, taking us towards our ultimate destination of saluting the 200 most significant moments that Premiership football has produced since 1982. Without further ado, we continue our random recollections with an afternoon that will never be forgotten by the people of Penrith. The 1990 major semi-final catapulted the once-struggling Panthers into their maiden grand final when they surged home in extra time to topple Canberra by 30 points to 12. From the major semi-final of 1990, we travel back exactly 7 years to see Manly get the better of arch rivals Parramatta in the 1983 major semi. After finishing the minor premiership a massive 8 competition points in front of the Eels, Manly faced the final series full of confidence, a mood that was certainly reflected in their first-up effort at the SCG. The Sea Eagles' 1910 victory saw them become the first side into the grand final for the second successive season. With the magic target of a hat-trick of premierships on the horizon, Parramatta were determined not to surrender without a fight, and they turned that loss to Manly around 7 days later by downing Canterbury 18-6 in the final after leading by 18 points at half-time. The match ended Canterbury's association with two great servants in coach Ted Glossop and fullback Greg Bretnell, who had the honour of scoring his team's only try.
Taken by Sterling though, Johnston. Steve Muller on to Bretnell. Bretnell puts it in the air. Waiting for it. Takes it well to Bretnell. Bretnell's only been on the field for a couple of minutes. Put it in the air. 2 minutes, cool away. And in for a try for Canterbury.
When the 1984 season opened, there was a fresh and exciting attraction for football watchers at the Sydney Cricket Ground. New South Wales Premier Neville Wran was on hand along with a familiar trophy to launch the third Winfield Cup. However, all eyes were on the spectacular new electronic scoreboard, which provided an extra dimension to how the game could be viewed via instant replays and pertinent statistics. When the action got underway, it was Eastern Suburbs who featured much more prominently on the scoreboard than their opponents from Manly, who had been runners-up the previous campaign. After the Eagles scored first through Noel Clill, it was all red, white and blue for the rest of the afternoon, with Easts running out impressive victors by 24 points to 8. Ferguson will race away. Ferguson is going in next to the post, and Ferguson scores for East.
Neil, pass to the centre, Scott Gale, across field, out to his winger, grounds infield, got around his man, he's going to score. He made them look foolish. He pushed Melrose off and he scored. In an earlier edition of Winfield Cup Magic Memories, we showed how Cronulla wonderboy Andrew Ettinghausen notched 5 tries in 1994 against Souths. Well, believe it or not, that's not the only time in his great career that ET has recorded such a feat. In an incredible coincidence, Ettinghausen also scored 5 tries on the same day, August 27, 5 years earlier, in the last round of the 89 season against Illawarra. It's not often that you can go an entire 80 minutes without seeing a try scored, and especially in semi-final football where the best players are on display, but sometimes the level of desperation in those big end-of-season affairs can produce impregnable walls of defence, such as the one erected in the 1992 minor semi-final, which saw St George tip Newcastle by a scoreline more akin to soccer than rugby league. It took a late Peter Coyne field goal to get Saints home by 3 points to 2.
Stopped. Peter Coyne is deep to the left. They go to him. Does he have time now? He's got plenty of time. Somebody remember. They worked it finally. And Saints back the bedlam. St George survived in
So after that rugby league rarity, Saints stayed alive in the title race and confronted Illawarra a week later in the preliminary final. Once again, defence was the flavour of the day, although at the end of it all, the Steelers could only walk away regretting a number of excellent chances they had to change the 4-0 scoreline that Saints had manufactured in the first half via Ricky Walford.
Move the ball wide. Each time they do move it wide, they look extremely dangerous. They've got to keep doing it.
Even up the middle. His arm was nearly gone. Rockwood is blocked. He will be recalled. McCallum was right on the spot. They stay left with Neil. The Saints look to be offside. They bring a short ball. Rockwood's going to go. The second time he gets called back. I must admit that looked good. Now McCallum's in a perfect position. Simon to Rumble. Back for Rizzo. Back to Simon. Showed it. Kicks ahead. Back into Walter. The try. Unbelievable. 2 minutes to go. No, he said he lost it. Walford, who gets the downward pressure. Ball was lost by McIndoe. That's it. It's gone. St George find another grand final. Greg McCallum made a lot of important calls in this game. Calls that will be heatedly debated, I'm sure.
From Illawarra's day of despair, we turn to one of the Steelers' most memorable afternoons, which saw them end a 5-year hoodoo against the Eels. Since entering the Winfield Cup in 1982, Illawarra had never managed to beat Parramatta, but that all changed in the 10th round of 1987 when they overcame the reigning premiers 16 points to 8 in a tremendous struggle before a full house at the Wollongong Showground. 2 years earlier, Parramatta had turned on one of the most commanding semi-final displays in Winfield Cup history when they swept past Balmain in a muddy elimination match at the SCG. The 32-4 victory maintained Parramatta's quest for a 5th straight grand final appearance, although they were to be denied that dream by Canterbury Bankstown in the preliminary final a week later.
That was Price who sped it out the back to Taylor. Taylor to Kenny. They've got the numbers. Now it's Steve Ella. Ella's going inside 32. Inside 22. Taken by Hunt. Hunt gets the way to Brown. Starting to score. That's a try. A miraculous try. Scored by the Parramatta machine. Balmain line. Mosley is the acting half. Sterling decides to kick. He'll score, Sterling. Yes, it's a try. It's a try. Adjacent to the outlet. Not Lowy to play it onside. Now it goes to Sterling. Now it's Kenny. Kenny scores. This semi-final is now turning into a massacre. Player. Played back to Don Price. Given to Sterling. Now to Kenny. Now it's on to Sharp and gone to Greg. And Greg is just too big and too strong. And he goes in through the tackle of Gary Bridge to score Parramatta's 6th try of the match.
After losing the 1988 grand final to Canterbury, Balmain were fueled by the determination to go a step higher the following winter. For much of 1989, the Tigers struggled to obtain consistency in their play, but like a good racehorse, they were in top form at the right end of the campaign and sounded a stern warning to the other Winfield Cup contenders in the final round when they hammered fellow semi-final qualifiers Penrith 33-6 before a record crowd at Leichhardt Oval.
Just a few seconds to go. Here come the forwards. Rhodes tries to step down. Freeman's still down injured. As they go wide, Neil. Courier will score. There's the try. Too many numbers.
Another confrontation.
Is O'Brien down the flanks. Inside. Freeman turns the ball back inside. Beautifully up. And pressure puts it down underneath the black and gold. The last tackle. Weiss is calling for it. Freeman for himself. That is a terrific try. Everybody was sitting back worrying about everyone else but this man. Freeman took the opportunity right under the black dot.
Referees, just like players and coaches, are only human as we know and therefore will make mistakes from time to time. However, that fact fact offered little consolation to the Manly Warringah players, who saw victory evaporate through the biggest refereeing blunder in Winfield Cup history 4 rounds into the 1990 season. The Eagles were defending a slender lead when Brisbane hooker Kerrod Walters appeared to bomb a certain try 10 minutes from full time. However, referee Graham Annesley stunned everyone at Lang Park by awarding the 4-pointer, which ultimately gave the home side a lucky 14-12 verdict. To his great credit, though, Annesley took the unusual step of making a public apology to the Manly club a few days later. There was nothing, and I mean nothing, that could bar Manly from victory in our next match in memory, however, as they cemented one of the most outstanding performances in the club's proud history. Despite the negative vibes which had surrounded the Sea Eagles over the announcement a few days earlier that star second rower Ronnie Gibbs would be joining the new Gold Coast club at the end of 1987, and the fact that key men like Paul Vorton, Cliff Lyons, Dale Shearer, Michael O'Connor and Phil Daly were absent against the full-strength Canterbury outfit, Manly produced a devastating 32-2 thrashing. With the Stars away, it was the turn of lesser lights like Martin Meredith, Greg Austin, Ian Gately and Owen Cunningham to step in and nudge the Eagles a step closer to the 1987 title. Speaking of thrashings, they don't come much heavier than the treatment that Canberra handed a hapless Parramatta in the second last round of 1993 at Bruce Stadium. The 68-0 scoreline was not only the biggest win in Canberra's history, but also the third largest margin in 85 years of the competition. Despite those substantial feats, the Canberra camp was filled with despair over the serious ankle injury suffered by ace halfback Ricky Stewart. He couldn't help but feel that the Raiders would have been content to win by just 1-0 if it meant that such misfortune wouldn't have become Stewart with the playoffs just around the corner.
Here's Meninga. Meninga just charging ahead. They won't stop him. The big Mack truck's in for his second. Well, there's something wrong here. Now, Krekovic has been tackled. Ricky Stewart's in agony. Look at that. Oh, look at the way that ankle's positioned. And if he hasn't broken his ankle, oh, look at it. There's something horribly wrong with Ricky Stewart's leg. Trainer shaking his head, I think, says it all. The Raiders, looking for their biggest ever victory in Winfield Cup competition. Belcher holds that pass up. Beautifully picked up out there by Kroger, and Jason Kroger scores. Trevor Shodel, the replacement halfback, he's gone straight through. Up to the halfway. I don't think they'll catch him. Giving Jason his mark, but Trevor Shodel is going to make it a great afternoon for the Raiders. Ron Hilditch and Mick Cronin can only think about next year.
If there was an award for the greatest act of redemption in Winfield Cup history, it would be difficult to go past South Sydney three-quarter Steve Maven as the winner. Maven will probably always be remembered for his disastrous display in the 1987 minor semi-final against Canberra, in which a succession of his mistakes led to opposition tries in the first half. However, it didn't take long for Maven to restore both his self-confidence and that of his teammates. Round 2 of the 1988 Winfield Cup pitched the Rabbitohs into a tight local derby with Eastern Suburbs, and the outcome wasn't determined until the dying minutes when, you guessed it, Steve Maven shrugged off a couple of defenders to grab the match-winning touchdown. And so we pose the question, is there anything better in sport than a match that goes right down to the wire until a hero comes along to save the day for one of the sides? When you see contests like that one between South and East, and this one between North and Brisbane, you realise that not many sports in the world are so often able to produce captivating climaxes like rugby league. But without getting too swept away by self-indulgence, let's throw to our next hero. And it's Jason Taylor, who was the toast of Sydney's North Shore after steering a tricky drop goal through the sticks that gave the Bears a shock 15-14 win over defending champions Brisbane in the 1994 minor semi-final.
Comes across for Langer. Langer pushes it on for John
Another great act worth saluting in this 7th episode of Winfield Cup Magic Memories is the astonishing field goal by Newcastle centre Jamie Ainscough in round 6 of the 1995 Premiership, which presented his team with a 23-22 victory over a gallant Western Suburbs unit that was starting to fire under new coach Tommy Radonicus. For Ainscough, the sweet sense of satisfaction didn't come just from reaping a valuable 2 competition points for the Knights, but also in knowing that it was against his former club on the familiar Campbelltown turf after earlier scoring a vital try.
Newcastle needs some points. Here's Ainscough. He busts straight out of the tackle. Goes himself almost to the line, and he's over the line. He's done it single-handedly. Solo effort by Jamie Ainscough there. They've got 3 markers, West. They're all heading for Johns. He's coming back towards centre field. It's come after him. Now a chance for Barnes with the ball. Rooster was. Tracy, now they run it. Now it's Ainscough with it. Shot for field goal. It's close. It's there. Kicked by Jamie Ainscough.
Earlier on in the program, we showed how Illawarra took 5 years to finally register a win over Parramatta. Well, for Newcastle, their great bogey side was Brisbane, who made the Knights wait even longer than the Steelers had to for their one-club hoodoo to end. But when the Novocastrians eventually silenced the Broncos, they did it in magnificent style by crushing the champs 24-10 before a large and delirious gathering at Marathon Stadium midway through the 1994 season, 6 years after both clubs were welcomed into the Winfield Cup.
We were talking about their strength earlier and the fact that they're tough. Their hands and their ability to support the ball carrier and offload is incredible. The ball goes loose, scooped away by Matthew. Robbie O'Davis inside the 20. The pass goes back. Little question mark on it. Newer, he gets the try. The Knights, they're on the picnic here now.
It's no secret that football is a religion in Newcastle, and even though the locals worship the Knights, they're not too biased to acknowledge a great game of footy, even when their heroes run second. That was the case in 1992, when Brisbane and Newcastle produced 80 minutes of rugby league magic that will long be remembered as one of the finest matches in the Winfield Cup. The Broncos came away with a 12-8 verdict, thanks largely to the guile of Alan Langer, but the Knights pushed the eventual premiers every inch of the way in a fabulous contest. Class wins the day again in our next Magic Memory, as we recall how Canberra outshone a valiant Western Suburbs side in the first elimination semi-final of 1991. After winning a midweek playoff for 5th place with Canterbury, there was no questioning the Magpies' commitment, but they gave the 2-time premiers an almighty shove before a combination of fatigue and flair conspired to submerge them. It was the Raiders who lived to fight another day after a 22-8 victory at the Sydney Football Stadium.
In the second half, Steve Walters. The try would be good reward for him. Instead, it's the double for Belcher and for the Magpies. That's it.
When Auckland came on board the 1995 Winfield Cup, they promptly gained widespread respect for their impressive attacking skills. However, that advantage was tragically offset by some serious defensive flaws. It didn't take long for those shortcomings to be ruthlessly exposed when North Sydney, who weren't widely acclaimed as an offensive force, ran in an incredible second-half tally of over 40 points at North Sydney Oval. After a tight first half in which the Bears led early, the match became like a training run for the Bears the longer it went on, and the visitors headed home embarrassed by a 48-10 scoreline.
Matt Kostek only 15 out. Keeps them on the boil. They're all on the right-hand side, the North Sydney players. Only 3 or 4 Warriors there. Larson straightens up, looking for support. Down with his ball, and it's got Corvo in for number 2. Larson, clearly an established State of Origin player, but he was in line for a kangaroo berth as they go again. And it's Stewart. He'll find David Hall. Happy looks back to the supportive side. The
The early stages of the 1995 season painted Auckland as something of a Jekyll and Hyde character, whose excellent performances at home contrasted sharply with their substandard offerings across the Tasman. But when the Warriors finally opened their account on Australian soil, they did it with enormous conviction, thumping Parramatta by 40 points to 4 in round 7, with 30 of those points coming in the second half.
Alexander inside. Has to stand and wait for it. Gives it back to Hoppy. So much better. Brilliant touch from Hoppy. Cassini with a great ball. One more tackle remaining. Big line to the right if they can spread it, if they take the risk. Alexander will try and hurry it out there. Floating it nicely with numbers. Tatupu to Bell, who will have Hoppy outside and Blake inside. Stays with Blake. Doesn't try him a good ball. Now back to Alexander. Kicking ahead. He'll win the chase. One man looking for two. Breaking away. Hoppy gets there.
A prop forward scoring 3 tries in the one game? It might be a preposterous thought, but Newcastle's Mark Sargent wasn't concerned about convention or being expelled from the front rowers union when he submitted a powerhouse hat-trick against Canberra in the final round of 1992. One of the most significant individual records of all time was broken at the end of 1994 when Canterbury legend Terry Lamb eclipsed Jeff Gerard's mark of 303 for the most number of first-grade matches played by an individual. Ironically, Lamb broke that record against his former club Western Suburbs and celebrated in his usual match-winning manner by scoring 2 tries and setting up 2 others as the Bulldogs sealed their second successive minor premiership by downing the Magpies.
Polomata dances straight through. Here gets it on to Hetherington. On now to Hughes. Stephen Hughes. Back inside. Terry Lamb for his second. He's got it. Oh, what a way to celebrate, Bubba. Second try of the game. 18 minutes remaining in this match. Lamb cuts through. Gets away from that point now. Looks for support then. Polomata. On to Williams. Leeds comes at him. This is a race.
The record books show that Canberra carried away the 1989 Winfield Cup, but to do so they had to walk a teetering tightrope over the closing stages of the home and away season. To reach the finals, the Raiders strung together 5 wins on the trot, but almost came to grief in the last round when they trailed St George 10-0 after 15 minutes before running out convincing 30-16 winners. Episode 7 of Winfield Cup Magic Memory